What's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Today, we're taking a look over here at the XRP price chart as the whole market is green. Even Bitcoin's up $1,000 this morning. However, XRP hitting as high as into the 58-cent level, currently at 57 cents right now as I am recording. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the price action of XRP, where we are at right now. Is this our local top? What is the big structure at play down in here for XRP over the course of almost an entire year? As the markets are starting to get pretty euphoric, pretty excited, pretty happy. Find this to be a good time. Try to think with a level head and understand what's going on here in the market. And the thing we've been looking at for quite some time now has been how XRP has played out historically. Now, if you don't know what this is taken from, it's taken from the past cycle for XRP back in 2014, 15, 16, and 17. During that time period, we had our big crash of 95%. Then we went on into a retrace, and then we went on into a reaccumulation phase before we eventually went into breakout. Well, here we go. Here's 2018 and 2019 with our big crash of 96% off into a retrace, back into reaccumulation. So the part we're looking at really here is in that reaccumulation phase that took place back there in 2016 before 2017 got pretty excited. We'll take those off. And we'll take a peek at what went on in here to see that even right now in this retrace reaccumulation, we could see the sizes of these are identical once again. And then moving on into the price action that we've seen, again, same similar price action occurring in here. So right now, where are we at, right? We've been talking about this for a little while to see that, hey, look where we've now gotten to, right? We've now gotten right back up to the top. So notice over here in 2016, looking at the blue fractal in here, where the peak of that blue fractal came in here, you could see the price poked above that height. And that is also what we are seeing currently right now for the XRP price chart. Last week, we were looking at how, initially there was a big fall back to 41, 42 cents for something equivalent. We did end up getting that. We went right back to 41 and then boom, off and away we went. Now you kind of look at the price action individually and you say, hey, we're starting to see some type of excessiveness. We're seeing 5 waves start to show up in here. So I'm definitely on caution that we're reaching the top of here. You'd have to say, well, what is the whole structure here? Is this just, we're just copying fractals and it's just fractal repeats? But the reality is the whole thing is Wyckoff accumulation, if that's what it chooses to do. So we'll talk about that here in a second. But I also want to point to one other thing, because we often talk about the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I always feel like I have to go through a long explanation and revert back to lots of videos to explain that and what that is. And completed crashing structures is what I call it, right? And we were looking at that in here. And so for those who have been watching for several months to show the completed crashing structure, when I said, hey, look, this has to be the bottom, that has to be wave, 7. Right? What do we end up having? At 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 rolls back up to 6. And then what did we do? We went on for 7 and just wicked right below it. Boom, that was it. That was good enough. That was 7. Then what did we say? We said, well, then the thing that can happen after that is these things can kind of go on for a very long time. And then, hey, what do you know? We get the big old breakout happening here, right? So just kind of a reminder for when we do that again one day, which I'm sure we will. For those who are watching this for the first time, you're probably like, what is this Dingus stuff? That'll be for another day for you who doesn't know what that is. But for those who have followed for that whole time, we've showed the crashing structures, counting out the waves, doing that over and over again, and showing lots of examples of it. Hey, we got it. It all worked out. But as we sit here currently with the price of XRP at this point, now it's about whether or not we're going to do one of those all over again. And so let's talk about the different phases of Wyckoff accumulation and see if we can count out all the particular parts that we need. So we'll count out our selling climax, our automatic rally, our secondary tests in phase B. And have we had spring already come in here? And are we already done with sign of strength? Are we working on sign of strength? Or are we in the phase right before we go into spring? Let's take a look at our selling climax with our automatic rally, secondary test, right? So what do we have? What does appear here, right? You have like an A, B, C. Here is your selling climax. That's where we hit our bottom. Luna, UST, 3 Arrows Capital, Celsius, all that stuff right here. There's your selling climax. That's the bottom in June. We all know that. That's where pretty much everything bottomed. Then we have our secondary test in here, followed by another push, right? So what do we have? Sort of your A, B, C. Now what? Then we go in for our secondary test of phase B. So there's your secondary test phase B. Then you sort of give 5 waves, take us back up before we head into spring. So are these waves right in here before we start it all over again and then head up? As we all know, that is my guess. To be fair, this is the structure of spring. This is what spring should look like. The crashing structure is typically how you have your spring phase in a market. For example, in 2015, with Bitcoin's spring, we clearly see the crashing structure 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Roll back up to wave 4 within wave 5, 6, and 7. That is your typical spring phase. It's not typically what you're going to actually see right here in your secondary test of phase B. That's a more cleaner secondary test of phase B. You could see that in here. This is the crashing structure. This is the spring phase of Wyckoff accumulation. We definitely have a spring phase in here. Why? Because we talked about it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's what we talked about the whole time. So then you have to say to yourself, okay, well, was it more like this? Was it ABC? And then your selling climax, automatic rally, secondary test of phase B, and then off into spring. And then off and away we go. While it seems reasonable and it seems possible merely because we have the crashing structure happening right here, be weird to have the crashing structure heading into secondary test of phase B. This is typically going to be your spring, which is the last phase. However, when we look back to XRP during this phase, that's also what we did have there. You had the crashing structure, and it played out very similar, where we roll back up, and then what do? We come in and we just barely set a new low below here. So in the secondary test of phase B, XRP acted very similar to that crashing structure there, even back in 2016, which still leads me to believe this was the crashing structure again for the spring phase. So we'll grab it one more time and say, well, who do we want to argue with? Do we want to argue with the spring phase happening in the secondary test of phase B? Or do we want to go along with just, how things have been playing? They've been playing incredibly identical to how they have before. And even in this phase, based on time, very, very similar based on time. And considering that in this phase, it had a similar crashing structure back in 2016, probably leads me to believe, this is still what's going on here. Now, I do ask people to write an emotional log. I've done a lot on talking about my personal emotional log, times when I'm feeling really down in the dumpster, or times when I'm feeling really excited. And a lot of times people forget to do any of the emotional log writing when they get excited or they get euphoric or they get extremely hopeful and optimistic. But it's important to document those times too, because it's not just about during times when things are scary and keeping yourself motivated, but it's about when times are really good too. Right now, if I log on to Twitter, I'm going to see everywhere 57 cents, 58 cents, 59 cents. I'm going to see screenshots of fiat leak. I'm going to see everybody posting about price right now, and everybody excited, and probably everybody's feeling pretty good. Yes, the price is not at some insane level, but probably everybody's feeling pretty good right now, which means a lot of the worry is kind of removed. So more hope, more optimism. What happens when most people are hopeful and optimistic and they think we're in full-blown go mode, especially when they think there's a narrative hanging in the background that's going to make it even more go mode. It's just time to be cautious, right? So as we sit here on how big this move has actually gone right in here, we'll get that lined up just right there. Get that bottom to line up right where we should here. You can see right where we've gotten to. You head back over here and you see these are resistance levels in here. So taking a peek over there, just a little bit of caution, you know what I'm saying? And blockchain back over here, being the buzzkill, man. But this is just the reality of it, right? We looked for a pullback to 41 to 42 cents. We got it. And then we looked for a move to the top of this range. And we've now gotten it. Again, I'm super bullish on XRP through 2023. But as always, I'm a chartist. And then now we can insert the people who have narratives and say charts don't matter anymore, prices don't matter anymore. It's all about the narrative. This time it's different. But, this is just what I do. No narrative told you that a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 was going to mark the bottom right there. The market was terrified right in here right at the beginning of January, right? Still, this was freshly off of SBF collapse of FTX, but very clear multiple videos. So that's bottom. That's just because that's what the technical structure of the chart was. And a lot of times I do intentionally leave the breadcrumbs behind for me to reflect back on. As you can see here, crash complete as XRP price chart starts 2023, right? XRP bottom, crash complete, which was right here on January 2nd of 2023. And as we can see, the day this all happens here, January 2nd, 2023. And in this video, going through all that stuff, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, saying, hey, look, we've done all the things that we need to do, talking about what a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 looks like, reverting back to explaining it all over again, which we're not going to do here in this video, but that, hey, this was it. That was the completion of it. The bottom is in. Then the clear messaging was, we're probably going to waddle sideways for a while, and it's going to be boring and painful. Now, good news, man. We're playing along with how we should be playing along. It's a normal Wyckoff. We've seen this kind of Wyckoff before. This is what happened in the months leading up to the biggest explosive move for XRP in all of history. We are playing out identically to how we did during that time. For that, I'm super excited, but I definitely have to be cautious of where we're at currently right now to say, hey, when we did do this last time, before we went on an explosive rise, this was kind of the last phase before spring of Wyckoff accumulation that led into that big run. So as we sit here today, I have to kind of remain cautious, cautiously optimistic, but at the same time realistic, right? Keeping those emotions in check. It's the highest price we've seen for XRP dating back to May. So this is really almost the highest price we've seen on the screen in almost a year. There's going to be a lot of emotions tied to that, a lot of excitement tied to that. And just trying to kind of keep that in check for a minute to say, hey, you know, is this the moment where things go big boy up? And we've talked about this really through all of this too, is that, you know, hey, if XRP is the thing that you want to be a trending asset and just trend with the rest of the market, it's never going to do that. The asset has always moved just like this. Every move up is an excessive quick move up. Today, it's proving no different, really, right? This is just the way the asset works. Even if it's just moving to the top of a range, that is how it moves, how it's always moved, and we're just going to have to kind of wait it out and see how we do from here. I can definitely see all the excitement sprinkled all over Twitter. I totally understand it. We're at the highest price in a year. It's, you know, it's exciting. But I do know we've seen a movie similar to this before. The movie had a fantastic ending, with 2017 being absolutely phenomenal, but the story still had some more action in here. And so that's just on my radar. We did it. We reached the top. This is as high as the fractal went, right? So this is legitimately the level that we got to with this thing back in the past. So just want to point it out. We'll see how it goes. But all right, I've got to get this thing exported. An early XRP video today. I've got to get ready for markets in the morning so we can get the frog going. Otherwise, I hope that you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you could be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.